Hello friends, this video on congruence of triangles part 1 is brought to you by examfear.com. No more fear from exam. Topics to be covered in this lesson are Introduction, what is congruence, congruence of plane figures, congruence of line segments, congruence of angles, congruence of triangles, criteria for congruence of triangles, wherein we'll discuss SSS congruence criteria, SAS congruence criteria, ASA congruence criteria, and RHS congruence criteria. So the name of the lesson is Congruence of Triangles. Now, first of all, we need to understand what exactly is congruence. What do we mean by it? In order to understand the concept of congruence, let us take this example. So what do you see on the screen? You see a pen, right? Now, what do you now see on the screen? You see another pen. So the first pen was black in color. Do you think that the two pens, the black one and the red one, they are exactly identical to each other? Are they exactly identical? So what are the differences that you can spot between these two pens? Maybe the color. Yes, the colors are different. What about the shape? So do you think that the shape of the pens are exactly identical? Not really. Now let us do one thing. Let us try to overlap, or let us try to place the red pen over the black pen. Now when you place it exactly above the black pen, do you think that it exactly covers the black pen? No, because we can see that the black pen is visible from here. Again, here also, if you look at it, this grip or this handle of the red pen, it doesn't overlap with that of the black pen, because the handle of the black pen is somewhere here. Again, when you look at the tip, so the tip of the red pen is more tapered, whereas in case of black pen it is kind of wide. So towards the tip also they do not overlap completely. So basically when we try to overlap these two pens, the red pen and the black pen, we see that they do not cover each other exactly. Why? That's because they do not have identical shape and size. So their shape towards the tip is different, their shapes towards the top again are different, their handles are different. So that way, due to different shape and size, they do not overlap each other. Now you might ask that, okay, fine, in that case, if I bring two pens which have same shape and size, will they overlap? Now when you look at the screen, the green pen and the red pen, they have exactly the same shape, they have exactly the same size. However, the colors are different. But to overlap with each other, the colors really doesn't matter. Now in this case, when you try to place the red pen over the green pen, what happens? They cover each other exactly. They completely cover each other. That is because they have identical shape and size. So what do we observe here? So we observe here that in this case, the two pens have identical shape and size. And exactly this is what congruence is all about. So when we say congruence, we talk about two objects, two shapes, two line segments, two angles, two triangles, any two objects of any shape, such that the two objects have identical shape and size. That is, they should be able to cover each other completely. So in this case, the red pen and the green pen, they are congruent. That's because they are able to cover each other completely. Now you might say that, okay, you say that they are identical, but they have different colors. But color doesn't fall under the category of shape or size. So when we talk about congruence, we are only bothered about the shape of the object and the size of the object. So here, first scenario, pens do not overlap. Second scenario, pens overlap. So where the pens overlap, that is the scenario of congruence. Let us take another example. Let's say that you and your brother share the same birthday, or maybe your birthdays are very close, and both of you received a birthday card from your parents. Now, when you look at the shapes of the two birthday cards, do you think that the two birthday cards are congruent? Now, what do we mean by congruent? That means they have identical shape and identical size. Now, in order to find out if they are congruent or not, what we need to do? We need to place one card over the other and then see if they are overlapping with each other. So, let's do that. Let's bring the girl's birthday card and let's also bring the boy's birthday card. Now, when you try to place them one over the other, what happens? Do they exactly overlap? No. You can see this pink card from here. Again, you can see this extra portion of the blue card from here. So that means they do not have identical shape and size. Even if you try to kind of rotate the blue card and then try to place it over the pink card, even then you see that they do not overlap each other completely, which very clearly says that these two cards are not congruent. No matter in whichever orientation you try to overlap them, they do not cover each other completely. So here in this case, these two birthday cards are not congruent. So cards do not overlap. Now let us look at some random pairs of objects where we can see the phenomenon of congruence. For example, what are these? These are two toys which are made of the same mold. Now again, we are not bothered about the color of the toys. We are just worried about their shape and their size. Now in this case, if you try to overlap these two toys, they are going to exactly cover each other. So we can say that these two are congruent. Look at this example. So here again it's another toy. So it's a toy horse. So do you think that these two horses are congruent? Now even though both of them are horse, both of them are the same kind of toy. But do you think they are congruent? Now, many a times, just by looking at the two objects, you cannot say if they are congruent or not. So what you need to do, you need to place one object over the other. So when you place the second horse over the first horse, what do you see? Do they cover each other completely? No, that's because you see, for the first horse, this portion is seen here, the hair portion is seen. So the height of the first horse is slightly bigger than that of the second horse. Again, when you look at the tail, that also doesn't overlap. Again, when you look at this part, this doesn't overlap. So why are they not overlapping? That's because they are not made from the same mold, right? You can make many varieties of toy horses, and not all of them are going to be identical. So in this case, we can say that these two horses are definitely not congruent. However, if you bring congruent horses, something like this would definitely be congruent. So in this case, when you look at these two horses, if you try to overlap them, you would see that they exactly cover each other. So these two horses are congruent. Similarly, if you bring a horse like this, see here also you can say that these two horses are congruent. So basically, whenever you are trying to find out if two images or if two objects are congruent or not, all you need to bother about is their shape and size. Think of a pair of objects like a protractor and a set square. I'm sure you are aware of these. You would have seen these in your geometry box. What is this? This is a protractor. It helps you to measure angles. And what is this? This is a set square. Now this is how the shape of the set square is, and this is how a protractor is. Do you think that these two are congruent? Definitely not, because they have totally different shapes. They can never overlap each other. So these two objects are definitely not congruent. So I think with these many examples, the idea of congruence is now clear to you. So whenever we talk about two objects being congruent, they need to have same shape and same size. So now let us see what is congruence. So let's formally define congruence. So it is a relation between two objects being congruent. So when two objects are congruent with each other, we call this relationship as congruence. That means they have same shape and size. So this is the criteria for two objects to be congruent. So let us look at this example on the screen. What do you see? This is a big triangular piece. Here also this is a big triangular piece. Now are they congruent? What do you feel? Now as it is, if you try to overlap this blue triangle over this yellow triangle, it would not. It would not cover each other completely. But the moment you just rotate this blue triangle and then try to place it over the yellow triangle, then it completely overlaps. So that shows that many a times it happens that you have two objects. Now in this proved that the blue triangle and the yellow triangle, they had the same shape and size. That is why they are able to cover each other completely. But it is just that the orientation in which it was placed before. Now if you want, we can see it once again. So this is the orientation in which it was placed. So the orientation was slightly different. So the moment you rotate it anti-clockwise, like how we did here, you bring both the triangles to the same orientation, and then you are able to overlap one triangle by the other. So basically two objects which are lying in different orientations can also be congruent if they have the same shape and the same size. So whenever we talk about congruence, we are just bothered about two factors, shape and size. So if shape and size are same, then two objects are congruent. Thank you. Please visit examfear.com for free quality education. You can learn with a simple 4-step learning process wherein you can watch video lessons, you can ask your questions, you can refer notes, and you can take a free online test. We have content for class 6 to 12 on physics, chemistry, mathematics, and biology along with practical videos. So please subscribe to our channel for daily updates. Thank you.